Hello, I'm Amundsson, back with more of beautiful Stockholm. In this video we're going to take a closer look at Djurgarden, a large park area close to Stockholm city. Djurgarden was once hunting grounds for the royal family, but in the early 19th century it was open to the public. Today it is part of a national park next to the city and serves mainly as a recreational area for the locals. Djurgarden is where you find some of Stockholm's foremost tourist attractions, like the Vasa Museum behind me and the Skansen, the large open-air museum and zoo. It is also where you find some of Stockholm's finest art museums.
I was so tired yesterday.
There are 3 ways to get to Djurgarden from central Stockholm: by bus, streetcar or ferry. I recommend the streetcar. It is fast, convenient, very nice, and stops close to most of the major tourist attractions on Djurgarden. We're going to start this tour of Djurgarden at the Vasa Museum. In the 1620s, Sweden was at war with Poland and needed to strengthen its navy. So the great King Gustav Adolf commissioned the battleship Vasa to project strength and secure Sweden's dominance on the Baltic Sea. Vasa set sail for the first time on August the 10th in 1628, but due to a construction error she sank just minutes into her maiden voyage. An extra row of cannons made Vasa top-heavy, so a gust of wind was all that it took to make her tilt. The many heavy cannons had not been properly secured, so when the ship started tilting they could roll from one side to the other, thus increasing the downward pressure on that side. The cannon gates were open so that water could rush in quickly. Most of the crew members made it ashore, but some 30 to 50 sailors drowned. For more than 300 years, Vasa rested on the seafloor in the Stockholm harbor. In 1956, researcher Anders Franzén and diver Per Edvin Felting managed to determine her exact location. Vasa was lifted to the surface on April the 24th in 1961. Today, she rests at the Vasa Museum, where she has been carefully restored. The Vasa Museum is by many considered as one of the finest maritime museums in the world. Here, a smaller model next to the real thing. And here, a detailed model showing life on board, or rather what life on board would have been like if she had not sank.
Nej. Framför!
Close to the Vasa Museum lies Nordiska Museet, the Nordic Museum. Arthur Hazelius, born in 1833, was a teacher who started doing research in ethnology and traveled the Swedish countryside for this purpose. He saw a need to preserve Swedish culture and founded the Nordic Museum in 1873. The museum was originally located on Drottninggatan in central Stockholm. The construction of the new Nordic Museum was commenced in 1888 and completed in 1907. Arthur Hazelius died in 1901, so he never got to see this. The Nordic Museum is Sweden's biggest museum of cultural history, and here you can see how people lived and dressed in Scandinavia from the 16th century and until today. Arthur Hazelius also founded Skansen, a large open-air museum and zoo located on Djurgarden that was officially opened on October 11, 1891. Old buildings from different parts of Sweden have been brought to Skansen and rebuilt here to give you an idea of what it looked like in different parts of Sweden in the old times. This is a kåta, or Laplander kat, a small, simple and movable construction used by Sápmi, the indigenous people of northern Sweden. Every year, Midsummer's Eve is celebrated at Skansen the way it was celebrated in the Swedish countryside in the old times. The traditional celebration starts with the dressing and raising of the maypole.
Är ni klara? 1, 2, 3 och hej! Det är så spännande, det är så spännande. Bara liten bit kvar. Okej. Får ni tag nu? 1, 2, 3. Och hej!
Then follows the dancing. In the old times, the dancing would continue till late at night. It wasn't always just nice. With too much alcohol and rivalry over women, things could sometimes get out of hand.
Va? Nej. Va?
Most of the animals at Skansen are typical to the Swedish fauna, like elk, reindeer, brown bear,
Although those using the blue thing hurts, so oh yeah, come here.
and seal who live in the Baltic Sea. Skansen also has lots of peacocks. These beautiful birds walk around freely in the park and they are not very afraid of people. The latest addition to the exhibits at Skansen is the Baltic Sea Science Center. Here, visitors can look at different types of fish and other species that live in the Baltic Sea.
Gå oppe, det finns mer oppe. Ska gå på trappan, spinner vi med det.
The bottom of the Baltic Sea is not as colorful as a tropical coral reef, but it's still interesting. These lemurs reside at the Skansen Aquarium and Monkey World. Visitors are allowed to step into their enclosure and walk around among them. It can sometimes get a little rowdy in here. Entrance to the Skansen Aquarium and Monkey World is not included in the entrance fee for Skansen. So if you want to see these guys, you'll have to pay an additional entrance fee. Soliden is a large outdoor scene at Skansen with a very nice view over Stockholm Harbor. Here they have concerts with different kinds of music and sing-along events throughout the summer. So if you're going to visit Skansen, check out the music schedule to see if there's something there for you. Gröna Lund is Stockholm's only amusement park. Gröna Lund is relatively small compared to some amusement parks in the United States, but it does have some thrill rides that I do not dare to try. Most of Djurgarden is a large recreational area where people can go jogging, take long walks, or ride their bicycle. These pictures are from Blodomloppet, or the bloodstream, an annual running event at Djurgarden. There's also some very good fishing here. The water around Djurgarden is teeming with pike. I know because I've caught many of them myself. Isbladskärret is a small swamp in the eastern part of Djurgarden, close to the canal. Here some cows have laid down to rest close to the swamp. This tranquil place is very close to Stockholm city. This is Rosendals slot, or the Rosendal Castle on Djurgarden, a small and relatively simple castle. On the 31st of May 1810, the Swedish Crown Prince Carl August died and had to be replaced with a new Crown Prince. This created some controversy, but in August the same year, a French general named Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte was chosen as the new crown prince, and in September the same year he left France for Sweden. Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte was born in France in January 1763. He became a soldier, participated in the French Revolution and the wars that followed, and became a friend of Napoleon. In 1812, Sweden joined the coalition of countries at war with France, and this of course meant the end of the friendship between Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte and Napoleon. Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte was crowned to King of Sweden in February 1818 and ruled the country until his death in March 1844. He was the first king of the Bernadotte dynasty. He commissioned the Rosendal Castle that was built during the years 1823 to 1826. It's a small and relatively simple castle that was used mainly during the summer. The royal family often went to Rosendal in the morning, spent the day there, and then returned to the royal palace in Stockholm in the evening. But sometimes they will also stay overnight.
Hon var katolik och det fick man egentligen inte vara i Sverige vid den här tiden. Men Josefina fick behålla sin tro och hon var sedd som lite pryd i familjen. Hon får den här utav svärfar och svärfar tyckte säkert. Ja. Och rummen på Stockholms slott är mycket större så man fick trycka in det här i 2 små rum. Och anledningen för att kungen var känd för sängkammaren, det var ju för att det var kallt i Sverige. Han ville ha 24 grader i sina rum innan han skulle gå upp ur sängen och på vintern var det adjutanter och officerare och äter lunch helt enkelt. Och hela rummet är ganska så praktiskt. Det är liksom inte siden på möblerna. Det här är ett möblemang som gjort ungefär 20 år innan slottet byggs här. Tas från Rosersberg.
Close to the Rosendal Castle lies the Rosendal Gardens that were created during the second half of the 19th century. Rosendal Gardens has a small shop where you can buy flowers and other plants if you need any. They also have a nice little restaurant where you can have lunch or coffee outdoors if the weather is fine. So why not spend a day at Rosendal, take a guided tour of the castle, have lunch at a restaurant, and then take a walk in the park. The building behind me is Amundsson, a very fine art museum. Their annual spring salon is always very popular. At the spring salon you can see works of different types by contemporary Swedish artists. Let's have a look at some of the works at the 2019 spring salon. Here a black and white painting by Jens Lundberg, a portrait of a dog adopted by the artist. A very nice coloristic painting of a cargo ship by Sten Yngve Johansson. A photograph of Sápmi women by Vegard Moen. Sápmi, the indigenous people of northern Sweden. And here a strange video animation by Karin Elmgren, a woman whose right arm is also the limb of a tree, and she seems happy to free herself from the tree. I must admit I don't quite get the message here. In the northern part of Djurgarden, in an area called the Museum Park, several fine museums are located close to each other. This is Sjöhistoriska museet, or the Museum of Maritime Archaeology. The building was designed by the famous architect Ragnar Östberg and built during the years 1933 to 1936. Ragnar Östberg also designed the Stockholm City Hall. This museum has lots of models of old ships and more modern ships. And here, an interior from a ship. The Museum of Technology, as the name says, has exhibitions of old and modern technology. So here you can step into an old mine or a modern computer game. Then there's the Museum of Ethnography, with exhibitions of clothes and strange artifacts from different parts of the world. This is Kaknästornet, or the Kaknäs Tower. The construction of the tower was completed in 1967, and it is used for radio and television broadcasts. The Kaknäs Tower is 155 meters high and one of Stockholm's tallest buildings. There used to be a restaurant up there, but at the end of 2018 the Swedish Parliament decided to close the Kaknäs Tower for the public because of the more tense political situation in Europe and increased security threats. There's a lot more to see on Djurgarden, but I cannot show you everything in this video, so that's all for this time. If you like this video, please share it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.